Well, okay, I'm going to try to finish up the tow package on this 2021 GMC Canyon. I took it into a shop and had them install the base plate so you can put the tow bar on. This is some of the stuff down here. They put the base plate on. They take the whole front end of the truck off, but I've got that stuff installed now. So now I'm going to continue on. They didn't want to put in the braking system because of some of the liabilities and some of the problems they have with different braking systems. So I've got a Demco braking system I'm putting on, and I'm going to put in a battery disconnect and a battery charge unit to keep the battery up to snuff while we're on the road. Anyway, I'm going to carry on with this. I want to show you some of the stuff I found. There doesn't seem to be any real good through grommets through the firewall, but we're gonna check this out, see what we can all find. I'm gonna open up the door and pop the hood, and we'll take a look at it later. Here's the Denko stay and play dual system. That's the major part of your braking system in here. This is the schematic for it. It's in the instructions in there, and I'm a technician by trade, and so give me a schematic and I can follow the map. Then this is the diode instructions, or the for the charging system that comes from the motorhome to the battery to keep the battery charged while you're driving, and it's disconnected from the vehicle. This is the remote battery disconnect switch, and I found that this solenoid is supposed to be latching. You should push the button, it should latch on. You should push the button, it should latch off. Well, it doesn't do either. I guess it stays off most of the time. You gotta have to push the button in and hold it in all the time. I troubleshot it. It's the solenoid that was the problem. And so I didn't want to mess around with a faulty component. I sure as heck don't want to be out on the road dealing with some kind of faulty thing and then figuring out I got to rewire my battery cables just to make the vehicle run. So I went down to Bass Pro Shops. They had, I went to their boating things, and I got a simple marine on-off switch for battery disconnect. Put that in, good to go. So this thing looks simple. So this was basically the whole install of the system. Hopefully I went step by step and it'll help you out going from there. Again, I bought all these components from eTrailer. They were responsive. I got my parts real fast. They did a good job with that. So just make sure that you get exactly the right parts. Call them, talk to them, get your right parts. There was a blog that was written by eTrailer, and they specified the wrong base plate. I ordered the wrong base plate looking at their specifications. Turned out it was wrong. I had to send it back and get another one. So talk to the people on the phone and get the correct parts. You may have to wait a little while, but it's worth the wait. Okay, I've got the hood popped on here, and just FYI, I am not a shop or affiliated with any kind of repair service. I am your average guy trying to do a DIY install on this GMC Canyon, this 2021. So I'm just going to take a look around in here. I had the shop add this stuff in here. This is the charging, that's the breakaway wiring, and there's the charge wire in here. I believe it's this orange wire here. No, it's actually this wire, this black wire here is our charge wire. Let's look at this here. My video is a little fouled up. So that's my breakaway wiring. This is the charge wiring. This is the tail light wiring here. I had them bring a loop up here so I can make my connection up above. So now I've got to figure out, where do I put this thing? It weighs a few pounds, and it's the control for running the brakes. So I'm looking around here and here and here. Do I shove it up in there? It doesn't look like there's a very good place for it. There might be some room down here. Not really. So I started looking around. Okay, where else can I go? Well, I could probably jam it down in here. That's not too bad of a place. Down in there. So looking around, then I look underneath here. I find a big old cavity down there with a nice place to set it. Now the deal is, how do you get it in there? Take this thing off, just mess around with all these wires. Well, I start looking and I find out there's a gap right here my hand is, can actually feed the unit in sideways, up around through here, and underneath. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to set this unit in underneath there. Now, as far as finding any kind of grommets to open up through the firewall, there isn't much available. Way over here, this is about the only one I've seen anybody suggest on, is down, and I'm trying to get this camera to look at it. Down in here is the hood release thing, but that's not going to be big enough for all my wires. And I also found that I can't put my controller on the other side. Let's take a look at that, and I'm going to look at a couple other things here. I'll show you what's up next. Okay, my next conundrum is trying to figure out where to install this thing. Most of the instructions have you bring it around and put it here. Get my hand out of the way, maybe I can see, you can see it. Here. As I fumble around with it, that's okay. I need a good editor. But what happens now, anything I put it in here is going to end up running into my brake pedal. So I can't put it on this side. I've fiddled and trying to finagle it in there. It's not going to work. So let's look on the passenger side. So I get over here to the passenger side of the vehicle, and yeah, boy, it looks like I got a lot of room right here. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, I could put that somewhere in here. It's just a plastic panel. I think all it needs to do is be mounted upright. It's not going to the moon, so it doesn't have to be super solid. But now, where in the heck am I going to find a place to run the wires through the firewall? So I look and see here, I got this glove box. A lot of times these companies, they hide the cabin air filters behind the glove box and whatnot. Let's see if this glove box comes down and take a look in the back side of that firewall and see if I can find a place to run the darn wires through. Okay, underneath the glove box, there's these little pins. I've already pulled them, haven't put them all the way back in completely. But they've got a little pinch clip on the end, and then they just slide right out. There's one on this side, there's one somewhere over here. Trying to get my camera to focus in. Like I said, I am not an expert at this stuff. I didn't get it. Okay, we're going to pull the pins. So here's the pin. You see the little pinch clip at the end. I'll have to figure out how to put this together when I finish the project. So the glove box easily pulls out, comes right out of there. Don't you pull the pins, it comes right out. So now I'm looking around. Where can I fit this thing through? Boy, they got a lot of stuff underneath this dash. Looking around. This looks like suspect. Here we got the heater coming through. Heating element, or for the heater core, the water lines. There's a big old grommet and stuff there. It's not soft. You can't get your way through it. It's a plastic grommet, but it looks like a lucky suspect. I might be able to, with a long drill a hole through the plastic part of it, and care not to bust anything up or, do something stupid like drill into my water jacket. But I think we might be able to pull off. I'm going to look under the hood and let's see what's under there. Okay, so under the hood, I got a flashlight here. Here's where the heater core water lines go through. Right there, you see this little rubber piece down here. I'm going to try to go in next to that over here. It's going to, be a little damage to the firewall, but I think I can get through here some way or another and run my wiring through that. And we'll see what we can do. Anyway, this is going to be a tight spot. This is going to be an experiment. It's a brand new truck. I don't hate punching holes in it, but we're going to give it a whirl and see what the hell. Okay, so with this long drill bit, I was able to punch a hole right Hope you can see the hole there. Come on, focus. Right there. It's a small hole. It's just a pilot hole. Now I've got another drill bit that's not the best in the world. I may end up going to the hardware store because I got to hog it a little bit more. I'm going to try to stay at just slightly underneath a 1/2 inch. And then I've got a piece of feed-through tubing I'll put in that, and then I'll run the wires through that, and then I'll put some silicone around it to seal it up. Come on, focus up. There we go. So anyway, there's the initial hole through the dash. There's no water dripping down or anything else. I didn't puncture anything on the way in, and this might be the way to go. Well, I finally got a hole punched through there with a 7/16 drill bit, an old one I had. Of course, I had to sharpen it because it wouldn't cut through any metal anymore, but finally I got it sharpened up. Did punch a hole in here. It's not too raggedy ass, but it's okay. Right, and get this camera up in there. It's right in there, right next to the firewall. So then what I'm trying to do now is I got to get a piece of tubing shoved through there. So let's see what we can do. That's a little hole right there next to the grommet. Again, there's no leaking. I didn't bust anything up. It's a small hole. Hopefully we can deal with it. I think we can get this camera just right. You can actually see the darn hole going. You can actually see a little bit of light through there. Focus. Okay, well, anyway, so that's it. So I've got a piece of heavy-duty shrink tubing here. And what I did is I took a lighter and I just shrunk the very end of it, kind of give it a little guide to get it through this hole, hopefully. Hopefully I'll poke it through. Once I get it through, then I'll just cut that end off, and I should be able to get the 1/4 inch tube through here and the wiring. This, again, this is just under a 1/2 inch piece of tubing. So hopefully we can go from there. Okay, if this guy focuses, you can see the tubing there with the white interior. Shove through the hole, and hopefully now I can get all my wiring and my piece of tubing through that, and we'll be good to go. Now it's on to the rest of the project. Let's see what we can do. Okay, just for information, I put a wire nut on all the ends of these wires. I got to try to feed up through the dash, so that just ties them all together. Okay, so I got this little control unit mounted on the passenger side. The wires fed up through the ductwork there, the firewall, and out underneath. Now what happens when I'm done, all this wiring connection will be done on the inside of the car. There'll be nothing underneath the hood as much as I can help it. That'll cut down on any kind of corrosion issues and that sort of thing. So all this will be hidden here and all tucked up behind the glove compartment, and we'll keep going.